Hello and welcome to Dreams of Wings, and welcome here to North Weald Airfield, and welcome to the Butcher Bird. Of course, this is a hugely anticipated release, as I'm sure you know because you're watching this video. I'm really excited about this one. I love the FlyingIron Simulations warbirds. They are really putting out the best warbirds in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I love the Spitfire, I love the Hellcat. Don't fly the Lightning very much, although that is nice. And I must admit, I don't fly the 109 very much, purely because it's not an aircraft that interests me very much, although FlyingIron did do an amazing job of it. This beast I am really interested in. It is an incredibly powerful aircraft, very interesting roll rates that I'm looking forward to having a play with, and it's the aircraft that gave the Spitfire Mark V a run for its money and meant that we very quickly had to get the Spitfire Mark IX up and running so that we had something that we could go up against this aircraft with. Really interested to see how it handles in the simulator and what we can actually do with it. So FlyingIron have done an awful lot of work with this, looking at the information that's on their website. They've got some pretty fantastic things going on with sound, taking into account all sorts of physics and all sorts of environments. They've also worked hard on the flight model, including actually talking to some Focke-Wulf 190 pilots and some BMW 801 experts. So they really have done their research with this sort of thing. We've also got a pretty extensive simulation of the electrical system, and of course, like with their other warbirds as well, there are consequences if you behave badly if you over egg the pudding with the engine and all that sort of thing. Then you are going to find that you get in trouble. The Focke-Wulf does present some challenges, which I'm interested to see. You can see from the wide track undercarriage that we shouldn't really have the same sort of problems that you might see with the 109 with regards to spinning on the ground and ground looping and all that sort of thing. So it should be a little bit more stable like that, but this has got a heck of a lot of torque. So it'll be interesting to see how the physics of that affect its behaviour, taking off and also landing, of course. This is going to be my first flight in the aircraft. We're going to get in there, do a full startup and all that kind of good stuff, and have a quick look at the interior. We're going to fly from here at North Weald up to Duxford, and on the way we can just try a couple of things, and then of course attempt a landing at Duxford, which hopefully there won't be too much drama. But as I say, this is my first flight. The whole point of this is for me to get used to the aircraft, see how it behaves, and also hopefully give you a little bit of entertainment on the way. Anyway, I shall stop waffling and we shall jump into the cockpit and let's see what the Butcher Bird can do. Well, here we are about to start on our little adventure. I hope you've signed the insurance waiver. And isn't this cockpit just absolutely fantastic? It's got a very nice lifelike feel to it. The textures, you can see down there the rust on that rivet head, the little scratches and the nicks in the paintwork from the hours that it's flown, the life that's in this aircraft. I think one of the key kind of wins for any good add-on aircraft is that when you're inside the cockpit, especially if you're using VR or head tracking, you actually feel that you're in some kind of a solid object that has its own identity, its own kind of life, and this certainly feels like that. The little chips on the stick there, yeah, it's really nice, really nice. FlyingIron are very good at capturing all that. It doesn't feel like artwork in a game. Well, maybe I'm just mad, but that's kind of how I feel about it anyway. So let's have a look at a couple of things. So let's bring up the click it there. Let's bring up the tablet. Now I know a lot of you are used to FlyingIron stuff, so you know all about the tablet, but I will just quickly run through it. Just for anyone who isn't. First of all, we've got our checklist. This is quite useful to have checklists actually in the sim. For the purposes of this, I'm not going to be using them generally because I've got the checklist on another screen, and I want you to be able to see the instrument panel rather than see the tablet. But we've got the checklist, and you've got all of them there. Really quite useful. Then we've got our V speeds. This is a handy reference just so that you make sure you don't break the wings off or anything stupid like that. It's always good to have that. Like any aircraft, it's good to know what your limitations are, and also what power settings are. And I should say actually the manual's really good. At the end of it, there's loads of information on different numbers and power settings that are good to have available so that you don't break things. You watch, I'm going to exceed one now and break it. Then we've got a live data so we can see what the aircraft is doing. It's from a point of view, if you were going to be a purist and say that's not very realistic, it's just useful data to have. Obviously we're going to be using the instruments in the aircraft, but the actual, if you wanted to have some live information, then you've got it all there. Sometimes it's quite useful actually if you don't use the tooltips thing. I don't have the horrible blue tooltips things with labels coming up. For example, here you can see where you are, what condition your priming is, which is kind of handy. But otherwise, it's just a useful little thing too, especially as you're learning the aircraft. It gives you an idea of what's going on. Also gives you weather as well. We can see here that from a weather point of view, nothing to worry about. Very nice. Right, stats. Well, there's nothing because we're not flying yet, but again, that's just a reference to show you what your numbers are in terms of your flying. Also quite handy if you wanted to have a look at G-force as well. You can see the history of the G-force. Loadout. You can select your loadout. Nothing to explain about that. Very simple. Short range, medium range, long range. We've got short range because we're only nipping up to Duxford, so we don't need to worry about drop tanks or anything like that. But you can load drop tanks. The ability to do that is there, so you can do longer distance. Autopilot, good God, we don't use autopilot, but again, it's there if you wanted to do a long distance flight and you need to nip downstairs to make a cup of tea or take a phone call or something like that. It's kind of handy to have it there, so you can just pop it onto autopilot if you want to, although that would be evil. Workshop. We have a living, breathing aircraft to a certain extent, so there are things that you need to keep an eye on. You can break the aircraft by overcooking things, as I said at the beginning, and also things will run down. You see the oxygen here is depleted. Reason why the oxygen is depleted, because I was having a look through the manual earlier on and also just getting an idea of the layout of the instrument panel, because the last thing I want to do is waste your time in this video going, oh, where's that? For about half an hour. So I was sitting playing with a few different things, and I'd left the oxygen on, and as you can see the oxygen has depleted somewhat. And then we have our settings, and this is where you can customize things. So for example, we can whack a GPS in if we want to. We'll talk a bit more about that in a bit. You can replace the modern pilot with a World War II pilot. I normally fly warbirds with a modern pilot with a bone dome, because I tend to do most of my warbird flying as a modern restoration aircraft rather than pretending that I'm back in the 1940s. But for the purposes of this video, so that you can see really the artwork that Flying Iron have created, I'm going to use the World War II pilot. You can hide the pilot. That's if you're taking screenshots outside and you don't want the pilot to appear. You saw at the start of the video that was all done by hiding the pilot. You can hide the control column so it doesn't get in the way of things if you want to. You can hide the spinning prop. I'm not sure what the advantage of that is, if I'm honest. It's the first time I've even thought about why you'd want to hide the spinning prop, but there is probably a reason for it that I can't think right now. But if you wanted to hide the spinning prop, you can do. By the way, in the comments, if anyone has a use for hiding the spinning prop, I'd be interested to know. Maybe it's a screenshot thing, I don't know. Simplified ground handling. You can, if you want, if you just want an easy life and you just want to get the airplane up in the air and have a good time without worrying about learning how to use it and the challenge of the more authentic ground handling, then you can have that on. But again, that would be evil, so we're not going to use it. Install radio and transponder. So if there we go, move the stick out of the way, we can have a little radio there and a transponder, so you can do your whole ATC thing if you want to do that as well. For the moment, we're going to have that off. And also, and this is quite useful, you can replace the German with the English. So if you look at that, for example, there we go, you've now got English in there. I am going to have it set to German, so it's a little bit more authentic, but I do recommend, especially when you're getting to know the aeroplane, it's quite handy having the English up there. It just helps you to look around and get a better idea of where it is. For example, if there we go, if I now look down here at at what all the different circuit breakers are, I haven't got the Scooby-Doo what a Heisbeckledung is. But if I stick that on, then I can see that it's a flight suit heating. There you go. Right, so that's that. The only German I know, I did a little bit of German at school, and for some reason, the only German that I can remember is Das Hund ist auf dem Fernsehapparat, which is probably terrible pronunciation. And if there are any German people watching this, I'd love to know. I'd love to know what the translation of that is, because I know in my head, or I think in my head, I know what the translation of that is, and I don't know why it's the only thing I can remember. But yeah, I'd be interested to know. Anyway, stop waffling about that. Realism settings, stresses and failures. Again, if you want an easy life, you can turn that off, but we're going to have it on because I'm all up for shaming myself on video. Tablet preferences, brightness says what it is, and you can also select ground services, pushback and ground equipment. Actually, what... okay. Oh, let's have a look at this. Pop outside. Well, how cool is that? We've got ourselves a little diorama going on. So here we've got some crates, ammo crates, I guess. We've got the step ladders for the mechanic to get up to the engine. The engine cowling is opened up very nicely. I'm guessing that's a oil or fuel drum there. But yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that. Great for screenshots, creating little dioramas. Yeah, cool. Okay, so let's close that, and I don't want to select a pushback, but I'm curious to see what that would be. Presumably, or hopefully, not the stock Asobo chap on an electric. I was going to say mini forklift truck, but of course it isn't. But the little pushback things that they use. Anyway, I'm not going to press that button, but it's there if you want. You can also see here there's an adjustment for aileron trim as well. Actually, something I should quickly say is that there are 14 different historically accurate liveries included with this, including an RAF one. Now, I did very nearly flew the RAF livery, but I thought that's probably a little bit too obvious for me to fly that on the channel. So I've opted for something probably a little bit more, as you'd expect, a little bit more authentic. But the RAF one will be one that I will be using quite heavily. Why do we have an RAF livery, you say? Well, it's because we managed to get our hands on one. I believe because a Luftwaffe pilot flew over in one. But I'm sure someone will know a lot more about that, maybe comment on it down below, but I believe that was the case anyway. So of course the Focke-Wulf was a huge mystery. When Johnny Johnson reported back that he'd sighted his first one, someone in intelligence said that it was a repurposed old French Air Force fighter that the Luftwaffe were using. They didn't envisage the FW190, but of course that's what it is. And Johnny Johnson remarked how incredibly impressed he was with it. Right. Okay. So I think we need to. I think we need to get going now. Let's start her up and taxi out. So, as I said, we're going to fly up to Duxford. We're going to do a couple of things on the way. We'll have a little bit of a play in her, and then we will land at Duxford, and hopefully everything will go smoothly. So, first things first, and I'm just looking over my other screen. Let's get the checklist up. Quick look at my physical controls just to make sure I've not done anything silly there. And I'd noticed that the brake was, yeah, the brake is on, so that's all good to go. Right, okay, just quickly check the head tracking. Just get that where I want it. There we go. Okay, so before engine start, forward brakers all on. So that's these ones here. Come here, where have you gone? There it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 and 10. Just making sure we are getting the last one. There we go. Arm brake, rear brakers all on, apart from the IFF at the back here. That's that one, the Sprengung. I've no idea what that is in German without flicking it to English language, but that is the self-destruct. And as bad as my flying might be in this video, and it might be something you want to press, we're not going to be doing the self-destruct. And then armament breakers all in. Oh, I think they're already in. Forward brakers all on, rear brakers, and we're going to need these puppies as well. This is the. There we go. That's the. Let's put it onto English. One of those. I think that is external power, but let's just quickly check that. Yep, external power. So that's the one I need to make sure that I turn off once we start up. So let's change that back to German. So it is the. I have no idea how to pronounce the first word, but Schloss. I could do the second one. Right, engine start. Check rear and forward fuel toggle. So that is going to be. I'm just going to quickly look at this. So this is the. That's how you can check the. Switch the fuel gauge. So that's okay. I'm also going to. Sorry, fuel gauge, left tank, right tank. I believe that's how that works. Something I'm also going to do is have a look at that. So sorry, I should again point it out. So this is the fuel pressure gauge. So this is the fuel cock off. That's the rear tank only, forward tank only. So both of those are showing pressure. That's good. And then we've got both tanks on as well. Right, probably jumping the gun here, but getting a bit excited about everything. So, what have we done? Rear brakers, we've done that. Optional external power we've got on, and oxygen valve open. So we'll turn the oxygen on. We can see our pressure there, or rather, I guess, is that pressure or no? I think that's probably how much we've got. And then we've got the blinker, they're called, aren't they? So the blinker there that's showing is that that's all flowing. So we've got oxygen flowing nicely. Right, engine start. Check rear and forward fuel toggle. That's what I was kind of messing about with before. Fuel pumps are on. Fuel valve automatic. So I'm going to put that to open fully because I believe that's what that is referring to. Prime until slow primer. So with this aircraft, I'm going to shut up so you can hear it, but also when this starts slowing up, which is between about 8 to 10 pushes, then you know that it's primed. So let's try that. See how that's slowing up there. Where do we get to? Prime until slow primer. Magneto's both on. That's this one here. There we go, both mags on. Throttle about 20%. Put that about there. prop control is manual. So this has got a very clever system called the Commando Garat. Again, sorry for the pronunciation. And that, for want of a better way of describing it, very simply, is a mechanical computer as opposed to the electronic computers we're used to these days. And with this one lever, the mechanical computer is looking after manifold pressure, engine RPM, fuel pressure mixture, propeller pitch, and ignition timing to take the workload off the pilot. So it's a very clever system. It's very advanced for its day, and all we need to worry about is this this system here. But first of all, we are going to do a little test, and let me just think. It's that one. There we go. And this instrument here, which is a funny one because it looks very much like a Casio G-Shock watch that I've got. And whenever I look at it, straight away I think it's the time, but it's not. So you can see it's winding at the moment. I've put it into manual manual propeller mode, and because my propeller lever is in the fully course position on my honeycomb, it's winding down, so I need to stop that. I now need to put it to if you're using an axis, it doesn't work as an axis. It's either one way or the other, or in the middle, neutral. So we just need to wind that out now, so the propeller lever, sorry, the pitch, which this is just showing you your pitch, it's not showing RPM, it's just showing pitch, but we need that as if it was a watch. We need that to be at the 12 o'clock position, and I just need to be gentle with getting it in the right spot. There we go, that'll do. So that's now at 12 o'clock, and then what I'm going to do is switch it back to automatic, and that should go back to 12:30. If it does, we know things are working. There, okay, so that's working, that's cool. And 12:30 is the fully fine position as far as the propeller goes. Right, so we've done that, that's all sorted. We can close the canopy now. There we go. And what else do we need to do? Right, we're going to start it now. So starting procedure is to lift that cover, push that down, and then after about 20 to 25 seconds you'll hear the inertia starter is geared up nicely, and then we give that a yank up, and then she starts. So I'm telling you all this now because I want to be quiet so that you can hear all the sounds rather than me waffling on like an idiot. Okay, so let's give it a go. I did prime it. I have been waffling. Let me just show you on here. If you've got tooltips, by the way, it will tell you as well when you hover over it if you've primed enough. But let's have a look here. So you can see that has now changed to primed. That's how that works. Right. Let's do it. Get out of the way. Okay, not a good start first time. So let's have a quick look. We've got the mags on. I have a feeling I probably should have held on to the starter a little bit longer, but we'll see. Just checking that that's all good. Yep. Let's give it another couple of these. There we go. And let's try again. Okay, we've got to start. So we need to, there we go, let's just bring it back down a little bit. We need to warm up initially at between 1200 and 1300 RPM. So this is down here. So I'm just putting it down to that level so she can warm up nicely without me doing anything silly. So after engine start, oil pressure check for rise. This is our oil pressure here and that has risen. So that's all good. I mean, really you'd want to be looking at that straight away rather than me waffling on as I would. Holding the brakes, throttle 1200 RPM, we've already done that. External power, we can now get rid of the that thing. Whoa, press the right one. Oh, it has gone. There we go. Right, oil temperature we want to warm to 25 degrees. So 25 degrees, it's already well above that, so that's absolutely fine. We can now put the throttle to 1400 because the next step would be oil temperature warm 40 to 45 degrees, and you can actually see that we are well already over that, so that is absolutely fine. Don't need to worry about that at all. Talking about temperatures, just so that we've got them in our head, the minimum for takeoff is 40 degrees, the maximum short term is 105 for 15 minutes, and max continuous is 95. So we do need to get moving a little bit, and something that we need to do straight away is to open the radiator control, and I'm having a temporary, oh it's this one here, there we go. So let's open the radiator control, and that will help to manage our temperatures a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that's all good. That's all good. We've done that. We need to uncage the thing. There we go. Uncage the thing. Uncage the artificial horizon, you animal. Get the terminology right. Okay, so we're going to be taxiing over there. Just having a quick look at the wind just to make sure it's where I'm expecting it to be, and let's get going. So stick aft. We want to have the stick aft because that gives us free castering tail wheel. Sorry, that's a lie. Stick aft gives us a locked tail wheel, and if we push it forward, then it will give us a castering tail wheel. So let's have a look at that. I'm going to stick aft it for a moment. Let's. I've taken the handbrake off, handbrake, parking brake, and let's roll forward a bit. Okay, that's interesting. So the brakes are working fine. I don't know if you saw that, if you caught it, but straight away the aircraft is moving to the left. So that's an idea of the torque that we're playing with. Right, so let's get going again. So I've just released the brakes. Let's come back on the power. Just getting a feel for it. You can feel the power, even just doing the, even just taxiing. She's running. Let's just get to make sure that we stay on the taxiway here. Say hello to everyone having a cup of coffee. Ooh. Let's check the head tracking position there. There we go. Look at that. And let's momentarily, bit of brakes, spin it round here, and we'll go up this way. I think it's actually a lot easier taxiing with the canopy open and sticking your head out, I have to say. But let's have a look. There we go. Now in the checklist for run up, it doesn't really say a great deal. It's certainly none of this mag checking and all that kind of stuff. Let's just check the brakes a little bit there. We are running somewhat. There we go. Very narrow taxiway here. Incidentally, this North Weald launches tomorrow, Friday the 11th of October from Burning Blue Design, and it is rather lovely. I've made a video on it. I'll stick it a link down below if you want to have a look at that. North Weald's a cracking place, and they've done a great job. So I'm just looking. That's a grass runway there. Sorry, I just realised I was sticking my head through the canopy, which of course is impossible. That's a grass runway there if you want to do that with warbirds. But we're just going to bring around here. I've got to say the there we go. The ground handling is rather lovely. It's very fluid, very fluid. You just have to be careful because it does want to get away. I can already tell that the takeoff run is going to be interesting because this beast wants to run. Right, let's do the run-up check now. So we need to lock the tail wheel, which is stick aft. Flaps set to start, which is this button here. Let's jump outside. There we go. They're now set to start. Hop back in, and we need to put the pitch trim set to 0. So there's our pitch trim there, and we use the wrong way. Use the button just to get that to the right space. There we go. Right, let's now have a look here. So takeoff checklist. Let's have a quick look at it now. So lock tail wheel, so we're going to have that back there. Landing gear guard up. I must admit I'm not entirely sure what that is. On the in the manual it shows, it points to this point here, but I can't see anything there. There's that switch there. I'm going to be honest, I haven't got a clue what that does. Maybe that's what that is, but we'll find out when we take off. I'm certainly not going to fiddle with anything to do with the gear now while we're on the ground. Blah 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 blah. Engine parameters within. Oh yeah, throttle to 2000 RPM. So we're going to be there. Engine parameters. Check that everything's good with the engine and that nothing's blowing up. If that's the case, we then advance it to 2700. So we're going to be there. Lift tail at 150 to 800 kilometers per hour. So over here, and rotate at 200. Landing gear and flaps up before we get to 250 kilometers per hour. Okay, and then we're going to put it onto the climb throttle, which will be back to 2400 RPM. Right, so a few numbers to remember there. I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to get it all right, but god damn it, we're going to try. Right, let's go. So check the parking brake is off. I'm holding down the brakes. Check the brakes again, that's good. Let's line up. I've got no AI or multiplayer on, so we shouldn't see anyone coming in. Someone did comment in one of my videos how boring it was that I didn't have any other aircraft around. Well, that's really because sometimes you have other aircraft and you're trying to do a landing and then suddenly you get an Airbus coming straight at you head on. So that's why I don't tend to have those in the video. Anyway, me shut up, we need to concentrate. Right, let's see if I can try and remember everything. So, let's have some power. Put the stick back. Release the brake. Have a look at the engine instruments. They're looking good. So, we'll go to 2700. Release the stick forward. Bumpy runway, and let's up, gear up, flap up. I'm conscious of the fact that I was so focused on keeping it on an even keel. Let's bring it back to 2400 RPM. So focused on keeping it on an even keel, I did not realise until I quickly looked down and I realised how fast I was going. And pretty much bust or just went over the gear and flap limitations. That just goes to show how fast this aircraft is. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely incredible. That was just raring to go. Coming back on the power a little bit now, we can bring it back to what's that? That's the maximum endurance cruise power at 2,300 RPM, and I'm just having a look at there. Okay, that's interesting. So the manifold pressure is not anything like. So on the table it says maximum endurance cruise power 2,300 RPM at 1.2 ATA. So I'm at 2,300 RPM, but I guess that's it. Maybe that's if we're at altitude. Manifold pressure would be slightly higher. Maybe. Okay. Anyway, I spent so much time looking at that. I'm just looking at my instruments, checking the T's and P's and everything, and that's looking okay. Oil temperature is good. Happy with that. So let's have a look. See what this roll rate is like. I can feel it already. Now I'm just being cautious there. I'm deliberately not trying to push it. Let's try and do something a little bit more energetic. Wow, my FPS had a hard time keeping up with it there. Let's try that again. Yeah, that's quite something. Okay, so something else you can actually do on this, which we'll have a look at now, is if you wanted to do some good old-fashioned VOR kind of navigation, then you can do that. So let's go back to the tablet. Just keeping an eye on things. And let's have we'll have the GPS. I'm going to take that away. We've got this instrument here, so I'm going to I don't normally use this GPS, but I want to try and show you. So I'm going to tune, just getting it up on the map. There we go. So we're going to tune to the Bikeway VOR, which is, where is it? 116.25. So go here. No. There we go, and we'll just switch that. Okay, now okay, so you saw it there. So we're going to head, if this is going to work, we'll try it this way. So what the instrument is telling us is this horizontal bar is how far away from you are. So the higher it gets, the closer you are. Down here, if it's right at the bottom, it means you're 60 nautical miles away. This here is our lateral, so it's deflecting to the left, so, which means that I need to fly to the right to intercept it. I will be honest with you, I have no idea in terms of radials and that sort of thing how that's going to work, but I'm going to fly over this way, and then we'll see that needle come back. I thought I saw it starting to creep then, but let's have a look. Let's go this way. There you go, so you can see it starting to recenter now, so we'll keep that moving that way. Come over a little bit more. I think I've realised how. Okay, I think I've realised how this is working now. So it's not like conventional VOR navigation. It's almost like an NDB in terms of you're setting the frequency, and then to fly direct to the VOR station, you follow that needle there. And remember, it's the opposite. So like now it's moving to the right a bit, so I now need to fly to the left a bit, and then that will bring it back. And then as we get closer to the VOR, that needle at the top, you can see it's getting closer to the top. So that gives you an idea of how far you are away. C'est simple. Okay, so that's how that works. Let's get the old... There we go. Get that back again. Okay, so let's see what a stall looks like. So I'm going to come back on the power now. She really is so fast, it's quite incredible. Interesting, coming right back on the power, and I guess it's testament to the aerodynamics that the speed just isn't really coming off. There it is now as we get a bit slower. Just hold it there. Our angle of attack is changing. There must be something going on with the Microsoft service today, because I seem to keep getting a few little pauses. There we go. It's going to go soon, I can feel it. There we go, wow! Okay, power back on. So yeah, left wing down quite rapidly as well. So that's okay. Right, let's get some juice back on. There we go, and we will head to Duxford. Now this time normally of an evening Duxford would be very busy, and I know a lot of the people watching this will probably be flying at Duxford as well. If you're into warbirds, you're going to be at Duxford. And I am pretty sure that when I fly this next with multiplayer on, there's going to be a whole load of people who are going to be flying at Duxford in the FW190. Do love the engine sounds in this. Really nice, really nice. That BMW 801D 214 cylinder twin row radial engine. It's got 1,700 horsepower, and it does sound rather nice. Of course, the Focke-Wulf was a fantastic low-medium altitude, but had a few issues when it was above 20,000 feet, where the Allies had the advantage. But it's a formidable aeroplane. Right, just having a quick look at the power settings. T's and P's are good. Do a quick pass at Duxford. Feel her shaking. This is Chico Mix Duxford, of course. FlightSim.to, a masterpiece. Okay. Felt fine. Nothing untoward there. Very nice to fly, actually. It feels very smooth. Just doing that. I'm going to come back round and we'll do a loop and just see how that feels. speed, bags of speed. T's and P's are good. Just going to climb for a little bit more height before we do any do a loop. I remember with the 109, it caught me by surprise. When I did the video here with that, I did a loop and was praying for it to pull out of it. I thought it would be a little bit more nimble than it actually was. Right, let's get the nose down a bit. Got loads of speed anyway. And let's give it a go. So I've been gentle on the control. Yeah. Easier to loop than the 109, that's for sure. Much easier. I love those sounds, that creaking sends shivers up your spine when you're doing that for the first time. Okay, lovely. Right, so we need to do a landing. So what have we got? A 3-knot crosswind from that direction, so I think we're probably going to go with yeah, we'll go with 2-4, I think. Now I'm used to doing warbird curved approaches. The checklist for this says to get the nose straight down the runway. So I'm not going to do a curved approach this time. Maybe with the nose on this you don't need to. I'm just used to with the spit having to do that, and also with the Hellcat as well. So we'll just come back on this on the power. Let's get the landing checklist up. Been handy to have done this before. So below 250 is our magic number. We get the flaps to the landing configuration and drop the gear as well. So again, could have done with losing some speed a little bit earlier on. See, she's quite happy to carry on. She's not wanting to lose speed now, so come back on the power a little bit more. There we go, let's get below 250. Come on, girl. Come on. Come on. Okay, let's have the gear down and have the flap down as well. Kind of thinking I probably would have preferred to do that, the flap, once I was lined up. But let's have a look. Let's get some power on. Wow, yeah, let's get some power on. Need plenty of power. I should have anticipated that a little bit better. Need plenty of power once you've got everything dangling. We need to be 220 ideally at this stage. And of course got completely lost sight of the runway. So let's have a little wiggle. This is why curved approach is so much better. Of course, if we had more height, we could get the nose down a bit better and see what we're doing. So anyway, there we go. Trying to see the grass runway. Yeah, just see the numbers there. Stick back. Well, goodness gracious. That certainly wouldn't have been centre line. we got down in one piece. Let's have the flappage up. You can probably tell the relief in my voice. Right, let's just get out of the way. Well, I have to say that went a lot better than I thought it would for a first attempt. Felt absolutely lovely. One of my favourite kind of phases of flight is flying the approach, and that felt really nice. Obviously need to do a few more of those just to get used to how it behaves, but yeah, it was really nice feeling, and seemed to get down without any particular dramas. So it's a lovely aeroplane. I can't wait to spend more time in this. It's going to be great fun, and I'm looking forward to getting some practice. This Duxford really is amazing, isn't it? We're so lucky in Microsoft Flight Simulator just how good a lot of the scenery is if you do this kind of GA or warbird flying. Look at that, amazing. Gorgeous aeroplane. Right, so let's bring her in. Let's not get carried away. Don't want to kill any people that have come here to see the warbirds. Hello. Let's get control. It's very quick. It's like a slippery little thing. Bit of power and then dab of right. Brake. Come on. Get it round. There we go. Right, so parking brake on. Let's have a quick look over here. Stopping the engine. Throttle idle. Engine stop, which I believe is that. Press and hold. Oh no, that's the electrical one, isn't it? It's that one I want. There we go. There we go, that's better. Right, mags both off. I just actually pressed the emergency electrical disconnect. So I've probably just absolutely mullered everything. Right, fuel valves both closed. So we get those down there, that's it. Oxygen valve closed. Get my head in the right. There we go, let's open the canopy. Get some fresh air in our lungs. Armament breakers all off. And then rear breakers all off. Let's come back, lift the flap. There we go, and oh, there we go, all off. And then the front. This does that annoying thing when you turn the battery off and it does the little menu thing pops up. There we go, that's all off. That's all off, and we're done. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this flight. I did. It was it was absolute blast. They have done a cracking job with this aircraft. Let's get that. Did I? I can't have been flying with the canopy open, surely. Anyway, yeah, absolute blast that was. Really enjoyed it. Great fun. Anyway, here we are. It's absolutely gorgeous. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I look forward to seeing you on the channel again soon. Take care now. Bye bye.